Okay, so we got lots of stuff on the board, and we're taking off still from. We're going to share about the East still, and I think where we left off, we were talking about Adam Kadmon, and we were sharing about who are the Adamites, and being red, right? So prophets, because everything about the journey that we're in is red and blue, but red and blue is really seeking purple, right?
Okay.
Because that actually goes to scarlet, but scarlet goes back and forth. It's the purple garments, but so it's the blending. But so we got lots on the board that you're extrapolating it out from the notes that are connected with, again, through your terminology and what you're partnering with to try to connect with what I am and where, what I'm doing. And so we're talking about, you're talking about the book that you're in, you're talking about the 64 codons, which is in the book.
The Gene Keys.
The Gene Keys.
And it's related to the I Ching.
Perfect. And the I Ching is talking, there's mother-father components in the I Ching, if I have a basic.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's
Okay.
called the Book of Changes, and it contains 32 pairs.
Right, and so we were sharing about, because the board's already filled, we're starting with a full board, but then these are just our notes, so and we're going to erase this, but there's lots of value here, and I wanted to share some of the value. So in this value that we have here, I just don't want to erase it and just like, hey, because this is we're able to connect. So with these codons, we were talking about the compass rose and the 32 winds on the compass rose. And even though we're talking about center, because this all goes to the point, because this is big about being the point, because we're talking about this is really completion. It's the pointed, it's the sharpness, but we're going to the center, and it means to be sharp or pointed. But
which would be resolve. Right?
Which would be resolved, yeah, because you're talking about the completed circle. So again, we've inculcation. We've talked about this northwest, east, south thing, but they're all connected. But we've had to make it go out from itself so we can see what this thing is, because it's all contained within us. But we got to just be able to see what this thing is to wrestle it out. So these codons are 64 in completion. So there's 64 codons, and this gentleman, correct me if I'm wrong, that these are within us. This is a coded system in our body.
Yeah, it's our DNA.
Okay, perfect. I'm just extrapolating out from your perspective. So we have 64 codons in our body. We have a compass with 32 winds that blow and then the last stance would be 33 completed, but there's 32 winds from the four corners, and then this is the basis on the compass rose. So we have a mirror, and this is where the 64 comes, is from the 32, because it's completion of one, but as soon as one is completed, it mirrors the completion, because outside of this dimension, there is a template of intention. We might be in mother, and we might be still in partial, right? Because it's all about quadrants. We might be that as a pie going into it, because that's where it's all measures in degrees, right? Until we become, oh, wait a minute, because this is all micro language, I'm becoming my journey, I'm becoming arisen, and as soon as I'm arisen, I'm now called whole. Now you're mirroring what's outside of it, which we would call Father, but yet Father was in it. Source is outside of us. All source potential is outside of us. But there still is fragmented Mother and Father within us, which it still represents as a whole, but it's fragmented from all source. Like everything that is all is still, we're connected to it, but source origin is like what I would say the representation of creator, all being, or essence, or energy, or force, or God, or whatever we want to call that, because I can't put a face to it because it's beyond a tangible face. But this 32 would be this.
Yeah, they reference that as the conscious side, and then what I suppose would be what you guys call Father is what they call the unconscious. And the work that you do on your shadows in the conscious side starts to shine a light within the unconscious.
Absolutely. And so it shows you the mirror of completion. So that's where I can connect the 64 codons to, is that we're working on conscious, unconscious to reveal itself as whole. And so when this is completed, it should be a mirrored 64. Because it's just everything in this is, we're becoming like, you know, like the completion of our mirror intention. So I can connect with that, with what you're partnering with, to say absolutely, because everything is here is about the dualistic nature of mother and father, the hemispheres of our brain, masculine and feminine, positive and negative coming together. So I just think it's really cool. I just think it's really cool that I'm not reading this, but you are, but it connects, it makes complete sense. It actually sheds light on this to say, it fills it up through agreement to say, what is this thing? And I'm only partnered in the scripture part of it. You're outside of it, that someone's already done a rendering or a breakdown, but yet it's saying the same thing. And I just find that incredibly exciting, that you're able to connect without simply through my interpretation, but you're able to connect it with what you're partnering with. So anyways, you've written it many ways, in many forms, but to connect it, and yes, absolutely, everything I've already looked at the board and going like, yeah, it's covenantal language, and we've already shared about the mirroring and about the use a green here. Does this green show up on the camera?
No,
It doesn't at all.
it's not. Doesn't
Okay,
look good.
we'll use the red.
I'm pretty sure you've got a bunch of juice left in that.
Very cool, good stuff. We're like a Chinese garden. We rake it and we rake it, we make pretty patterns, and then we erase it and we start over. Nothing stays because it's all moving. Alright, so we have the Adamites. There's so much in this that I'm only sharing from a perspective of what I'm seeing. I'm only sharing that. I'm not telling, I always want to say that I'm not telling, I'm only sharing with you. You have to break down your own perspective so you see how you need to see. It still is difficult to connect all, because this is all about seeing and then partnering with the revelation. And we've even shared about the word embrace, and I picked up this word for you about just embrace, because it's directly connected to what embrace means, and it's a Hebrew concept, and it's het that kuf, and it means to embrace. The interesting thing is with this word embrace is it means to clasp the hands. And so it's to join, exactly what we just stated, that mother and father. So the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, but it starts to actually realize what it's doing, where it's, oh my goodness, I'm clasping father's hand. And that is what embrace means in Hebrew. And we can see this in Song of Solomon. I've already shared a little bit of that this morning, where it says, his left arm is under my head and his right arm embraces me. And so this word right here means embrace, but it's directly in context and in relationship with the right and left hand. And we know that the right is synonymous with south and the left is north. And the right would be the way of mother, the left would be the way of father, the hidden, the unrevealed. And so you can see that we're embracing mother and father as one. Exactly what we were just saying. Through the journey of the 32 winds, we will embrace it, and we will be 64 winds. Or 64 codons. It's just the breath within us, because everything goes back to breath. It's the breath, it's the ruach, it's the spirit. So embrace this journey. And you were saying that part of the journey of affliction is in this process of becoming, that when you see affliction for what it is, and your perspective, let me erase that again. Let me see if I can draw a better circle. It's always nice when it connects. There we go. So it's a lot easier to embrace the journey, to try to connect it, but everything was progressional, as we know. So we just need to be gentle and kind to ourselves along the journey. That's the main thing, is be gentle and kind, be patient with the process. It's like we were sharing this morning, is that the whole process, and I'll be redundant for the sake of people listening, is that we're simply expanding, making space in our awareness of what's transacting. So one component will be mother, one component will be father, and they've allowed us to express themselves, in a space, and the more comprehension we have, the greater our space becomes, and then we are in the shell of this, and this is where the journey of becoming completed pearl. This is the pearl. That's the pearl, and so it's a garment without seam, because mother and father have been woven together, and they are embraced again as one, seamless, completely round, completely completed, completely whole, completely knit, completely fashioned, whatever language you want to say. This is solely dependent on how we see perspective of the journey. Either it becomes affliction and we don't embrace it, or we see it for what it is. In even the innocence of not knowing, most of us, I would say all of us, have moved into affliction not even knowing. It's just afflicted us. But we know that affliction is really humility's resolve, right? When we comprehend really what it is, or like the comprehension of meekness is humility's resolve, because that's the intention. And so when we see it correctly, we can journey embracing this, and then here we've connected the hands together as one completed unit. So anyway, so embrace, a big word, fold the hands. Let's go into the East now, because I think we started with Adam Kadmon. And what is Adam Kadmon? There's a word that is in the 32. Again, I'm a tornado. I'll draw this picture for the sake of people. Me. That's what I do. This is how I made my tornado within. I have to go out with information, and then I go far reaching, then I pull it back into center. And so it's a little difficult sometimes, because I go out, that seems like it doesn't connect with people, but then my job is to bring it back in. This is how I gather information to process my center. And so in this, like I said, that this is the compass rose is based on the 32 winds. This is all becoming, we're all talking about the East Gate here. And we know that the next step of completion would be 33, which is the Christ anointing. Okay? Which would be the Sephiroth. The Sephiroth would be the tree of life. Because when I first started doing this,
Or would the 33 be more centered?
Yeah, centered.
Okay, the 33 would be centered.
Yeah, the 32 is like touching as a step.
Okay.
It's 32 steps, but as soon as like the last step is what it's saying, is you've now become the 33rd. It's just a measure, it's just degrees, but yet it's just saying, I just find it interesting, there's 32 winds that make whole, but when you're whole, you're standing complete. The next, you'd just be standing as 32, but yet 33 is the completed anointing. I just find it very interesting that there's 32 winds, and then finally 33. There it is in its whole. When you partner with it, you are. Because I can see it, the compass, but it doesn't mean I'm the compass yet. I can only see it. There's 32, but yet it's telling me that the next step would be 33. And this is the tree in the garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. The tree has just been divided, and again, we're going back to knowing what good and evil is, what life and death is, and the whole process of becoming the measure of intention, 33. But 33 is only a number that is really, back to you, 64. There's 64 codons in the body, right? That's saying the same thing. It's saying the same thing. 32 makes 64 a completed 33. It's code. It's what the Masons use, but it's still, it's there. But 33 is only a number. It's only a number that it's looking for association of comprehension to say this is a frequency of completed whole now. 32 steps produces, really that is equates to even the measure 1. It's just one. You know, one, whole, 33. So when I do my tornado, I go up from the 33, and I found this interesting, that when I went to 33, and I think I shared it last time too, 33 roots at 44. So the root of 33 and this is based off of power and might.
Strong's 33?
Strong's 33, because the Strong's 32 is my father is might, because I go to the measurement of the circle, and so 33 is my father is might, and then that roots down to halal, to shine, a shining one, and then that roots what we were talking before about Oz. Oz is the same word for might, and that's ayin zayin, and then ayin zayin zayin is his root. So, and that means mighty. So we have this now, this 33. That it roots at 44. So it goes to, look at 44, because that's where I'm from. That's what it's telling me. So really, I mean, these are powerful numbers. That 33 is rooted in 44, because really this is the completed measure of, again, we're going back to these numbers that become very confusing unless you can see them, because we know that mother's journey is 22, right? Because that's the Aleph Tav, and there's 22 letters. Mm-hmm. But on father's side, when you know mother's side, you're actually starting to comprehend the basic ABCs as mother would teach a child. You're now comprehending the deeper meaning of father's 22. So now we have a 44 component here, right? And this is where you become 44, because you're now completed in the measure of 1. So what is this measure? Why am I focused on this 44? Okay, so this word is Abiezer, and it means my father is help. And this is where we get the word that in the beginning in the garden, the helper was pulled out of us. It's called the Ezer. And this is even, the Ezer Kenegdo means an encircler, an encompasser. Okay, so the Ezer is like, Carrie is my Ezer as I'm her Ezer. We circle one another. We encompass one another, going like, husband or wife, that's not becoming of you. Come back to center. We're in relationship. You don't do that because you have a standard, and we guard and protect one another.
So you act as mother towards each other.
We act as mother towards one another, and mother and father towards, depending upon whatever degree we need to express. We are an Ezer, an encompasser, and the word means a help. An Ezer means a help. Okay, so 44 means father of help. My father is help, Abi Ezer. Now, the interesting thing is, and this is, you can go back to scripture, Genesis 2:18, I will make a helper for you, suitable for you. It's talking about, for the Lord is our help and our shield. So it's talking right in that we can go into Psalms and go like, so now it's saying, the Lord is my help. Okay, so, and the Lord for that is, they spell the word, it's, we still need to put this up here, so 33 to 44. And now we have this Lord as help, and the word for Yod He Vav He, in this verse for my Lord is help, has got a lamed on the prefix.
Okay.
There we go. So lamed Yod He Vav He. So it's telling you, I am a goader and a pointer and a director. I am the light of Yod He Vav He. I am the instructor of what is Yod He Vav He, because Yod He Vav He is a template. It's saying that I am the light that's going to teach you the way. Okay, so that's really interesting that it's got a lamed added to that.
So it's something that's asking you to follow.
It's something asking, is because lamed means what? I'm going to go and point you in a direction. I am the staff that is directing you somewhere. Mm-hmm. So that's what lamed is. And lamed is also LMD. So lamed mem dalet. Extrapolate out, right? Because that's how you spell it. That's how you spell lamed.
Right.
So, goading and pointing over the waters of chaos, through the door. So you're going to have to enter the door over the waters of chaos, but you're going to have to be directed and pointed by the teacher of the staff. That's the Lamed. It's just the teacher of light. It's a light bearer. Okay? So this word for help, so this word now, so now we have in that verse, to qualify this 44, it says, the Lord is our help and our shield, and the prefix for help is Abi, or Ezer, sorry. So we have Ezer, which if you want Ezer, it's Ayin, Zayin, Resh, Nun, Vav. So we have this word. This is help. This is the root of help, which was 44. And then who was our help is Lamed, Yod-He, Vav-He. That's our help. So now we can discern what help is. And all that to say this, that the word in origin for magic is,
We gotta talk about becoming the magician.
to help. That's the origin of the word magic. So now we have this circle that's completed. We have the dot that's coming in the center. We have it connected to the 33 winds that go to the codons in the body. You've become centered through, again, we're going to throw some numbers out here, like, because even the 33 means you're 22 and 22. 22, the basic of mother rearing you. The 22, so you can maturely comprehend really what's being said in here. But the next step from the 32 is the 33. The root of 33 is 44, which is interesting. And then 44 goes to Ezer. And now it's saying, what's the Ezer? It's help, right? The knowing of the fountain of the eye is your sword and your plow to raise your head. So you'd be risen from your flesh to be a sovereign, to be empowered in sovereign meekness. That's the help. So you would know and see the purpose of sowing and reaping. So you would be the first to rise in sovereign authority.
It seems to me that this is starting to almost fold into synchronicity. Climbing up in synchronicity.
Absolutely.
That's the 22 to the 33 to the 44. Okay.
Yeah. From 11, 22, 33, 44. Absolutely. And then you go 88, right? So you can move right, the double, it's mother and father in infinities. But I just thought it was interesting. We have now the word magic. Take the spooky out of magic, and it just means to help, to be able to be powerful. This is where we get the word almighty from. Magic, magi, magic, magistrate. So we have magic now. Main, machine, powerful. That's what magic means. And it simply is to help. And so there we have help.
Wow.
So we can render it down now to go like, what is magic? Magic is simply a word that says, I'm here to help you. And I can associate it to this word right here, to Yod-He Vav-He. Lamed Yod-He Vav-He is help. This is magic. This is powerful. This is almighty. This is revelation. The power means in direction that reveals the sovereign expansion of the Father's revelation. Yod-He Vav-He. Right? The Lamed is on the outside of this, on the prefix, saying, go this way. Go this way, and it'll automatically reveal the sovereign authority. This is magic. This is the mastery of magic. Okay? So I didn't want to miss that based off the 44. And this is all about the tree of life. This is all about becoming the tree. It's all about becoming the Merkabah. It's all about becoming a star. We are building through star food, producing the essence of light. Because this is what we're becoming. So, anyways, I just didn't want to step beyond the magic. It's good to bring up the English words too, that even the word for surround means to flood into overflow. the not the Hebrew, but the English version of where the root comes from, to surround, because Yerushalayim will be coming down, and Yara Shalom means to flow as water. Yara, to flow down, Shalom, right? You're flowing down as peace, but it means to flow as water. That's what's coming down. So you've gone to the upper Shemayim to become as living waters. You are the living waters, and now Yara Shalom, you're flowing down to flow.
Those that have been reconciled.
Those have been reconciled, right, through the journey of affliction.
They'll
Absolutely.
be as water. Naturalness.
Right.
They will be resolute.
Right. They could be a storm, or they could be calm, dependent, because water is water. It can rage, and I don't mean rage in the negative sense. I mean it's a force to reckon with, right? When we comprehend what waters are, because waters is only a word, but it's saying that it wants to partner with the frequency to say when you are this, you are completely filled up in something, fully encompassed, because that's what. Now, surrounding means, so that's why I put these words in here for you, so I can connect to the English. So the word surround means to flood, to overflow, over, to flow in waves, to shut in all sides, first, round, surrounding. So to flow as water, as Yara Shalom, means you are fully encased in yourself. So you're flowing as something that's already within you.
Okay.
So you've become this. You are this. You are now, Father is my help. You are now a teacher, what I just showed you. You are the 33, the 44, the 222s. You're all of it. They're all just things that are pointing to this. They're saying the same thing. It's just we get lost in the numbers, and there's hidden teachings that make it all mysterious. It's just like, it's actually this, without any of this on the board. Full potential.
It seems to me that that's what the seeking leads to, is this dissolving of all, and you're a vessel for God consciousness.
And that's where we're going to go to, because we're still talking about the East, and we need to go to Adam Kadmon. But I'm trying to make it where I don't lose. It's just like there's so much. We're trying to share all on a whiteboard that's 4x8, right? We're trying to share consciousness on a whiteboard, but we need to break it down so we can see the fragments of light. That's all we're doing, is we're sharing fragments of light, so we can see light. So we know that on the Father's side, it's cloaked light that needs to be sovereignly revealed. Through what? Through the vision, the power, means, and direction of Mother's revelation. She will reveal from the south, she will reveal the north. Because they touch one another, and they're desperately seeking to be clasped as one, embraced. It's fully divine. The temple is fully divine. It's divinity.
And that's what each one of the codons would represent. A Yod-He or a Vav-He.
Absolutely.
A south or a north node, or,
Right.
Because as positive, negative, male, female.
Right, because as we go up in the macro, micro, because there is still a macro to this that is bigger than we can comprehend. We need to get the micro. So as we're learning fragments of this, we're able to see and shed light on this at the same time. We're just not over there, but through humility, it's revealing itself as an equal line. This is how we fill ourselves up. And at the top, you're realizing, oh, I've been seeing Father all along, but my perspective has been limited based on my journey.
Yeah.
So we're saying the same thing just over. We're missing Father by going Mother. No, you're experiencing Father by humbly accepting and embracing the journey of Mother. But you can only see Father incrementally. Comprehend?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a glass. We're
Yeah.
just filling it up.
Right.
Okay, so the word for abound, which is another word for round, from its origin, history, it means to be abundant, to come together in great numbers. It's the same as what we just said. It's to rise in a wave. From anda means water or wave, and round means like a wheel. A wheel upon a wheel. So now we have the breakdown of what round is, and it's like a wheel, circular wheel. That's the definition, wheel. Round and round. We've already gone through the fleur de lis, don't need to go through that. But what I want to talk about now, because this is still about self-adjudication. And we're still doing the self-adjudication because this is all about this. We can't lose sight of one thing and get narrow pigeonholed into just one thing, because this is still everything saying these are self-adjudicators, the judgment is coming. Well, we're in judgment right now. If we can see it correctly, we self-adjudicate to know what is and what is not. That's why we're sharing this.
All the way through the journey.
All the way through the journey is measures of self-adjudication. And when you've self-adjudicated correctly, you are now called judge. These are the ancient judges of Israel. They're coming back in because they kept a standard, and they were brought back in because Israel at that point was wandering from the template of Yod He Vav He.
So there's choice to find reconciliation within our DNA. And
Absolutely.
That is the journey of
Bottom.
becoming
Yes, absolutely.
judge.
Choice. You have choice to judge in a direction. You're called to go in a direction. So we're going to have to separate ourselves out, and this goes into so many directions, but again, we're going to try to keep it. Now we've talked about the sunrise, because now we're still talking about the east. So these are self-adjudicated ones that have arisen as probably through self-adjudication, and so now they're called arisen. They've come to a standard, right? And we talked about being cloaked in black. All it is you're completely illuminated, but you're cloaked, and you're rendering out from your cloakings to shed light on that which you are. Completed as a pearl, brilliant, white. It's all the same word. You're becoming light. And so the word for this, even for sunrise in the east, is Mizrach, where we get the word, I think we've already shared this, the 2, which is Zarak, and it means to rise, to come forth as the sun. It's from, or it's being broken down from 4217, which is saying I'm from this, and this means east. So what is this word? This is Zayin Resh Het. Zarak. The plow, the sword, the first arisen as the head, separating out, separating what is and what is not. Or the het, the fence, however, what is your definition of het that you've done in your extrapolation?
Well, I always picture now within the het is I think of that alchemical symbol where the person's peeking outside of the dome.
Right.
Because it's on the other side of.
When the down here, when his head is
It's like
poking, his body is in here.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and his head
It's
is
in the hidden.
right. Yes. So he's separated out. The head is all about separation or offense, right? It's just a macro micro. He is journeying, but because of his journeying, he's able to peek into this hidden side. So that's what it's saying. You're into the mysterious, the magic. You're seeking help. Help has been given. But you need to calibrate yourself to the frequency before help can be given. Because it won't be given to the vain or to those that are lofty in ego. Right? This is the seeking of magic. But magic is to be stewarded with gentle hands. It's not magic as we think magic is. Magic means you are an ezer. You're assisting another to reveal the full potential of who they are. That's magic. It's shedding light and helping. It's true magic, the mastery of magic. So in this, because it's still a circle, we have now east still connected to this, and now we have arisen nature. That means to come forth, to rise as this sun, right? To appear, to arise. And this is based off of Jacob. This is where we see Jacob, and the sun rose upon him. So we have the rose again. A dawning, a shining, it morphs a little bit, means a rising of light. It goes to 2225. If you dig around, you can find much in this. And the spelling is still the same from 2225. And that word means a dawning. The east is the place of the dawning, right? Or rises in the west and sets in the east.
The rising sun.
The rising sun. Mm-hmm. The rising of light. So let's look at this. It's interesting that when we talk about the rising, because where does the sun rise?
I don't know.
In the west. Well, so they say.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Right? But that's my point, is like, so we have this northwest, southeast compass thing, but they say that the the sun rises in the west, but it sets in the east. And so we have this language of really the east is touching the west. Like,
wouldn't that be backwards? That how you described it though?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. It sets, but it rises, but it's rising in the west, but yet it sets in the east. But then the east is all about arisen as the man. Which way is it pointing, right? But I'm just sharing, like, interesting, right? So east means the arisen sun, but the sun rises in the west. Yet where it rises in the west, we're to journey east, but that's really the setting sun. Or is it? Like, again, if you're on a compass, and I'm standing right here, and you're standing right here, are you before me or behind me? You're both. Because it's a circle. How can it be? It's only perspective. If you're standing right, like if I'm in a circle, if I'm on a hoop or a loop, really, you're behind me. It's just, but you're in front of me at the same time. That's exactly what's happening. And so it's just like we've limited ourselves in our perspective to say this is that, but we haven't done our own due diligence to say, is it that? Question. Adam Kadmon. What is it? It means primordial man. Okay, so we have Adam Kadmon, primordial man.
That's what Adam Kadmon.
I went into the Kabbalah, which is the oral tradition, and just to bring, and we don't want to confuse that with Kabbalah, which is corrupt, harm, and destroy. You look at that at 2254 if you want to, but we're talking about an oral tradition of the Kabbalah. I'm not in Kabbalah. I'm simply going like, what is Adam Kadmon from their perspective? I'm only into the organicness of this. A whirlwind. That's all I do is I know what I am in my nature of gathering, and I'm putting my hands out as I spin, because this is about even the dance of spinning, right? And so I'm spinning and I'm pulling in Sufis, right?
Sufis do it's like the cosmic dance. I forgot what it's called.
It's called the cosmic dance.
Something like that.
Yeah. They do and they spin right to left. I have a whole file on this, right?
It's like the way of just bowing to creation.
Very, very celestial. It's galactic spin, right? So but I need to extract out what this word is. So from this word, it really means Adam Elyon, supreme man. It also means full potential. So we have God's infinite light, supreme man, primordial man, Adam Elohim, Adam Elyon, Adam Ha Rishon, and it's saying that it is full potential, infinite light. So that's what we're going to. We're going to
Okay.
the east of infinite light.
Adam Kadmon is full potential.
So now we have this word, and I think we've been here before, but we're going to do it again for occultation. This word means it's kuf, dalet, yod, mem. Is it dalet? Yeah. That's kadmon. So we have Adam kadmon. Now this is kadim. So we're talking very similar, because the kadmon, how they spell it is, let me go back.
I wrote this down this morning.
They spell it kuf, dalet, mem, yod, nun. That's kadmon, how they spell it. Pure potential. Kuf, dalet, mem. So now we have, and we're gonna see where this morphs, but we need to start out what it is, because this isn't, I know it's not the same spelling, but let's see why. If this is a risen man, this one is saying, this word is 6921, and it means east. So we have Adam Kadmon with the noon, yod noon, kuf dalet mem, kuf dalet yod mem, and this is east. So we can see that there's something going on here that's very similar. Now, but we need to unroll this thing and see how it morphs, because we can move through this at 6121. So let's go to 6922. Let's just pull the thread.
Okay.
6922 from Strong's is kuf dalet yod shin. Oops, that's not kuf dalet yod shin. And that word means holy, kadesh. So we have a mem here and a sheen here. Sheen in Hebrew means to be pointed or sharp. It's talking about the two front teeth, the sheen. What you eat, two front teeth. We've already talked about the dualistic nature of mother and father. The sheen is the consuming of a nature that is the fire, but really it also means to be very sharp. It's talking about sheen is like the walrus, the hippopotamus, the horns of authority. It means the two, very sharp. Pointed means, in the Hebrew language, means you become a weapon. You become that. Pointed. Extremely sharp. Holy is, this is Kadesh, so it means you're talking about really the compression of light and dark in the circle of time. You've entered the door. The power means in directions to be consumed as one. Or your holy is the consuming fire, because this is still fire language. This is the holy fire of being compressed in the circle of time, or compressing light, or you're compressed through the door, right? The dalet means you've drawn yourself out, or you're drawing out in drips and drops and distillation. By holding the compass, you are now calibrating, right, through what might have been consuming to you. You've realized the journey is all about consuming self. That is the journey of holy. And holy means to be consecrated, which means to be separated. Het. That's life. You're finding life by separating yourself out. So, 6922, we're morphing a little bit, going right, because we're still talking about Adam Kadmon here, and what is this circle? So now, this holy is kind of stuck in the middle of east, because the next word for 6933 is going back to Kadmon, and it's kuf, dalet, mem. Let me do this, let me open this up a little bit. 6933, or 6923, sorry.
Is that the root?
That's a primitive root, yes. And I always look for the primitive roots. Why? Because if there was a tree and it grew a trunk and it had foliage, I want to go
All the way.
all the way to source. I can't go any further. I can't go anything beyond this. There's nothing that show. There's peripherals that want to express themselves, but there's nothing I can go beyond this word to say, what is that parent root? What is that saying right there? Right? This is dom, this is blood, which is really just congealed light. This is compressed blood.
Yeah.
And Adam Kadmon is what?
Full potential.
Full potential. Light. The word means it's full potential of light. So now we have in this, we have compression of dom, blood. But what is blood really, right? So we have dom, or we have compression by entering, by drawing out, you're actually drawing in to be sealed in the sealed waters. But we know that waters above aren't necessarily what we think, like we drink a glass of water here, like the water's above, but it's really more of a plasma sea.
The high frequency.
High frequency, right. Everything here is in a resonance of expression dependent upon its space or its containment field, that this parentheses, that we're still locked in the parentheses of time, and we're in a slowed down resonance. So blood, water, everything is then held to that slowed down resonance. So could it be rhetorical, just speaking, maybe not. Could water simply be light in another dimension? Slowed down here, it goes into the resonance of water, but sped up as blood is as well.
Distillation, I see. It's the heating up. It's having gone through the fire of the distillation.
Right.
It's transmutation, and it would be embracing the shadow.
Right. And when you look at even how we break down things, even through, because we have through process of dehydration, right? We dehydrate, but now we're going into really elements of sublimation. Sublimation is moving into ionization, which is light. But we have to go from a material form, and there's only a couple ways to do that. We need to break this down through the process of vaporizing water into a mist form that wants to connect itself back. So we have a cycle here, but this is based on sublimation and then the reverse of sublimation, because sublimation is going to plasma, ionization, which is light. So we're moving from a means to a greater means, and this is all part of that. So here is the root, and this word for the root of this means to project oneself. So we have the 6923 that's got the same, right? All this is saying, this east has a yod in it. Power means in direction. Your compass, I'm showing you east is where you want to go to Dom, to Kadam.
So it's in the blood journey, worship towards your transfiguration.
Absolutely. Work is defined as worship by the what you put your hands to and what you put your feet to. Your heart and your mind will most likely follow.
It's the walk of humility.
And in that measure, you will establish your heart. And in your heart, the man will speak. This is an arisen man. This is one now that is headed east from the west on the circle. Where is rising, what is setting, right? And it's no beginning, no end, but yet we are moving towards a beginning and an end, right? It's an oxymoron. But so I just wanted to point that to you, that we have this word that's connected. Kuf, Dalet, Men, Yod, Nun. This light right here would be, this is still Dom, this is still to project oneself, to anticipate. So it's right there, the same words that now we have a Yod, Nun, so this is the power means direction, while in a lesser estate, in the flesh. Adam Kadmon is the greatest potential that we could come to in our earth suit, because that would be the earth suit. The Nun, progeny, perpetuity, we're moving from one state to another. through, and we're looking from matter into transversing into sublimation, going into ionization to light. So this word, to anticipate, to come, to meet, to project oneself, and this is what I was sharing before with you. So there it is right there. I put it back up here, 6923. Okay, so now we're going to go back. So this is to project yourself, to anticipate, and it actually even says what? It says, this is cool because I just gave you what magic was. Usually for help. Kadam. I just said what magic was. Abiezer, right? About the 44 roots out. Mm-hmm. And so this word right here, kadam, to project yourself, usually for help. As magic.
Okay.
So we're either, because east is always, you're going back to, because this, now where we're going to go with this word is how it morphs on
So we projected ourselves to help ourselves?
We projected ourselves to help ourselves. There's a dimension outside of this that's assisting us, yet we don't know what it is, but we're peeking through that veil of that, what's outside, what's in this unknown place, right? Our higher self, right? So we've either projected ourselves in this, because when we're gone from this, what are we? We're into another whole dimension. So this 6924, vowel points change a little bit, but we'll just say with the gematria of it, means antiquity. And it still means the east. So this still means the east. And it's antiquity. Or time. East. And it roots out, goes a couple A, B. And this is where we have the encounter in Genesis 2:8. East of Eden. East of the garden. Both in Genesis. And then it morphs down again. Same spelling. 6925. Same spelling. Different vowel points on this one, and it means before. So we're talking about antiquity, projecting ourselves before time, and help magic. So we have all this stuff going on based on the east. Something's projected in, and we projected ourselves in. We're going to before time. We're going back to antiquity of the Ancient of Days. Interesting on the 6926, it morphs a little bit, and it has a hey on the suffix. So it's the kuf, dalet, mem, hey, kidma. And it means east still, to be in front. Now, the interesting part about this, that is all the occurrences on this one have a tav. This is the word that says its origin, but all the occurrence have a tav on it. And when you put a mem tav together, oopsie, when you put that mem tav together, that means death, mut. So now you went before. So now we're defining death. We're going like, oh my goodness, the east is really, you're realizing this is the revelation of really what death is. You're starting to realize your whole life journey, because this is now covenant language. You've entered the covenant of life, and it's the same covenant with death. This is before. So it's really interesting because it's kind of saying, in the east, when we entered in from the west, the first step out of the garden, looking for materials to loom ourselves together through the horizontal and the vertical, through mother and father, we weave to build ourselves, and we think that this is life, we're born, being born is life. But it's not until we start comprehending these higher levels of what's being shown is that we're in a limited perspective, we're in a limited suit, and it's going to perish, it's going to die. But outside of this dimension, we cross over, really. So you're comprehending what death truly is. We're in death. This is really Sheol. We're in death. And on the other side is life. So the east is right at that tipping point of what is life and death. Because again, if you're standing over here, are you before me or after me? But if I'm standing right here and going, well, at this point you're realizing life and death are really the same thing. It's just an expression for experience. And it's on a time limit. Really on the backside of this is life. Behind the veil is true life, because that's where we become light. And that is perpetuity. So anyways, I find it interesting that in all the occurrences on that 6925, I think I said it was, 6926, sorry, front, east, and it's all connect. All the occurrences have an added tav on the suffix, which classify it as death in its own frequency, but not what we think. So now let's go to 6927. Same thing, kuf dalet mem hey, and now it's talking about antiquity, a former state. Same spelling, 6927. So it's still kuf dalet mem hey. And it's east, antiquity.
Revelation.
Yep. So kadma. So we're still in this place of compressing the blood through the Father's revelation. So this is now you're now comprehending antiquity in a former state, and this is the revelation of that. Because we're still at the root, because it's still from the same root of 6923, kadam, to project oneself through the revelation. Behold. Project oneself. Behold this revelation. This is the Father's side.
Okay.
Okay?
It's like, behold the experience.
Behold the experience. When you get to this place of the east, behold, this is the full revelation of that hey, the Father's side that's established. Yes, you're starting to weave it together now. You're getting a deeper revelation. Like, whoa, I projected myself. I'm starting to comprehend. I'm creating a new reality. Neuroplasticity. I'm now creating new pathways that are causing me to see differently. I'm breaking free of the projected construct of much distraction and shiny and bling. I'm seeing something that I am.
I think about the apple falling from the tree and then needing to grow back up.
Absolutely. Completed circle. There's some really interesting on this one, in this 6927, it's such a heavy teachings, because there's actually only a few occurrences of this. I think there's 6 occurrences, but 3, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 3 of the occurrences are on the same verse, and it's Ezekiel 16:55. No coincidences on numbers. And it's talking about, will return to their former state. There's 1,
55.
to their former state, you and your daughters, you will also return to your former state. So there's 3 verses there, all in 1655, that are separated. First occurrence. And they all have, this is how they're spelt. Lamed, Kuf, Dalet, Mem, and then it's Tav, Nun. So it still is Kadam. It's telling you that you're going to return to your former state. That's in the verses in Ezekiel 16:55, and it's like one verse, and it's broken up in, it states this 3 times, like 3 times. Will return to their former state, and then the next verse, but still in Ezekiel 16:55, to their former state, you and your daughters. Same verse, but now another time it's used. Will also, or will return to your former state. So 3, I can show you on here. See, there's 3 different verses, but they're all the same verse, 1665, and they say the exact same thing. That's huge.
Okay.
And it's from this root right here, 6927. Through this revelation. Through what revelation? Through the teachings I'm pointing and going in the directions. You're to compress this, that you're going to know that you were projected in. This is the revelation, the Father's revelation, right? This is the mark, the tav, in the flesh. Or tav of perpetuity, or tav of progeny. It's all the same. And it still means the east. I know this can get a little
6928.
6928. 6928. It means former time. We're going back to antiquity. And it's the same. Kuf, Dalet, Mem, Hey. Exact same spelling. This thing there's only two occurrences of this, and it too is got an added Tav instead on both occurrences. And so it means a former time. Now we have this word. So let's move, and then I got to go back to get the Adam Kadmon now, because where we're going. So here's 6930, because we just did. Now I missed, the last one we did was 6928. 6929 is a name. I just left it out. I didn't, it's purpose, but it's just a name. I just, for sense of time and space. So this is 6930, so we're just jumping one. And it's Kuf, Dalet, Mem, Yod, Nun. And it means Easter. And we may as well, this was 6931 too. 6931. And it means former and Eastern as well. And the only difference with it is it's the risen noon. So it's Kuf, Dalet, Mem, Vav, Nun, Yod, Kadmoni. This whole following of the East here is huge, because you're seeing what's going on, that this is those that are compressing. The risen is compressed light in the circle of time. They've entered the door of now the mother is in their heart, right? They are pierced through, connecting in the expanse, raising their fallen nature, and now they have power, means, and directions. And this is Kadmoni. Now remember, the word for Adam Kadmon from the Kabbalah, so let me go back up.
Now they have power, means, and directions to enter again?
Well, power, means, and direction is really just the ability to see. Because that's what a compass does. It gives you sight and perspective for vision. And so, because this Yod is really the hand.
So orientation.
Orientation. Which orientation means the way of the East. And so how do they spell Kadmon? I should have left this over here.
So, like, worship is your orientation?
Yes. Your perspective of worship is your orientation regardless. How could it be anything different? If you worship Lucifer, that is still your orientation. So this is their definition through the Kabbalah, what Kadmon, Adam Kadmon is. Now we can start to see that there's no longer, so Kuf, Dalet, Mem, Vav, Nun. Kuf, Dalet, Mem, Vav, risen noon, Yod. So now on this one, that's talking about the Eastern at 6931, means former Eastern of time. You're before time. You're now of old antiquity, right? And this is rooted in this, but yet it's still saying that, wow, what's going on with this thing? Because you're going back to a former estate as the first Adam. And then 6933, it's now the only morphing is going to be Kuf, Dalet, Mem, Vav, Tav. Now we're going back to that right there. Mut means death. Now that's 6932. That right there now is now compressed as the door of death. That is the full definition of death right there. But it's saying light, Eastern still, and it still means a former state, the first. And the word means the first. And this is part of, we're going back into the Aramaic now. This one isn't Aramaic. The next one up, 33, is Aramaic. 6933. But interesting, right? Now we have death in here, but with this compressed door is now fully made mother, sovereignly standing as pierced in the covenant. The covenant of what?
Right.
This has got death written right in it. But you're risen as the first again. This 6933 is Kuf Dalet Mem Yod. And there's, I think, one occurrence for this, I think. It's in Daniel. This is Aramaic. And this is, the first was like a lion. It's in Daniel 7:4. So we have this first we have this language of death, we have an arisen language, and this is where they use that in this verse of Daniel, the lion had wings. So it's that old, we see the glyphs on the carvings where the lion sitting has got wings. So we have something that's arisen. Judah was the first. This whole language of this means the first. The first. Adam Kadmon means the first arisen man. Adam means 1-1, the first man. Kadmon means light. So now we have Adam arisen as light, the first man. Eastern, antiquity of time, before time, you're going to meet life and death. You are the first risen as a lion with wings. Entering the door through the compression of light, you become sealed in the teachings of mother. You are now mother in your heart. As you have been pricked, you are now called one who pricks. You are now an adversarial friend to those that you're in relationship with.
So you become the affliction.
You become the affliction. You become the judge that knows proper mitigation of how to afflict without oppressing. This is right rule and reign. I'm not afflicting for the purpose of affliction. I'm inflicting you for the purpose of elevation. So you too would see east. So you would know Father within. Maturely standing, recognizing, embracing it as one, because the whole purpose of a judge, if they've already arisen, is to assist family to arise into the measure so they too would be one. Sustainability. Any other direction is selfish. If I'm not pointing in the direction of intention, it's selfish.
Well, it would be resisting evolution.
It would be resisting my family because you're a reflection of me. I'm resisting myself.
Yeah.
I haven't, obviously, I'm somewhere on the circle other than here. I'm holding my information to puff myself up. And I don't want to do that. I want to share it so people can comprehend the journey of what's going on. So this is huge right here. This whole, we're going back to the former and the first estate, back to the origin where we were. Wings are only metaphoric. It's just an expansion of out of our heart, which is, our heart is called out of your back in Hebrew. But again, is my heart in front of me, or is it behind me, or is it in me? It's still part of the heart. Is still this. It's like they say that what springs out of our back is the sword in Hebrew. Like something glistening comes out of your back, like a radiant sword. It just means you are pointed and sharp. Everything about the sheen means you are fully consumed and you are pointed and sharp by the twin piercing of mother and father. This now morphs. This is good stuff because now we're going into L-ship. Because now we're going into 6934. We just finished 6933, so let's go to 6934. And this is now going into Kuf, Dalet, Mem, Yod,